Hey there. So you may have noticed that recently the Jubilee Line has been having a few problems with its trains. What's actually going on? Well, on Friday the 17th of October, TfL sent out an email saying that during regular safety inspections we have uncovered a fault with some of our Jubilee Line trains. As a precaution, we are removing these trains from service. And then went on to describe the services on the Jubilee Line that night were going to finish early, and there would be delays in the morning as they inspected the trains overnight. But that doesn't explain what's going on, and why a week later, or the next week, we're experiencing delays during the morning and evening peaks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop on this train towards Stanmore, where I'm going to try and explain what's actually going on. Let's go.
Station is Queensbury. This train terminates at Stanmore.
So these trains are the 1996 tube stock, named because they were built in that year, with an additional fleet of extra units built in 2005. They're fairly young compared to some other train stocks on the Piccadilly and Bakerloo line, but they are beginning to show their age. They're actually receiving a interior refresh right now, with these nice silver grab poles, new flooring, slightly nicer lights, etc, etc. But these are working machines. They carry millions of people through London daily, and because of that they have to be maintained and inspected regularly. I think MOTs for cars, but for trains they have to be checked and double checked and triple checked. And what happened on the 17th was, during a routine inspection, it was actually found that in the coupling unit between the cars there, they found that a plate on it had cracked, or pretty much severed. You can actually see, I'll insert a photo here, and that was bad news because it's a really integral part of keeping the train together. And obviously having a train fall apart in the middle of service would be a bad day for TfL. And so what happened was they found this on Friday the 17th, and they decided to check all of the trains to make sure that this wasn't a common problem. So what they done was they slowly took all the trains out of service early. They wound down the service and they began the laborious task of checking all of the trains. On the 18th they found slowly throughout the day that other trains were affected by this issue. The service started late and was part suspended between Finchley Road and Waterloo because they just didn't have the trains available. And now that we've been able to inspect all of the trains, we now know exactly how many are affected. But how many is that? Well, according to this RMT bulletin, 8 Jubilee Line trains have been found to have serious faults with the coupling units, which means that they cannot be in service because they are not safe to be used. They've also defined 3 other categories of severity of cracks being found on the coupler plates, with category 2 being trains that need checking every 3 days to make sure that it doesn't develop into a safety hazard. There are 3 trains which are defined as category 2. There is 1 train defined as category 3, which is it needs to be checked every 7 days. There are 8 trains defined as category 4, which need checking every 28 days. The category 1 is the 8 trains which cannot be used in service whatsoever. So, the Jubilee Line fleet has 62 trains, and 58 trains are needed for the morning peak service and evening peak service. Currently there's only 54 available because of the amount taken out of service, and that number could be even lower because of these categories of trains where they're needing inspection every few days. So there are loads of trains unavailable right now for the Jubilee Line to use, resulting in these severe delays during the morning and evening peaks. And this is going to be a problem for the foreseeable future until they can find a fix, because these parts on the coupling plates aren't everyday off-the-shelf items. They were built with the trains when the trains were built in 2005 and in 1996. And they're designed to last. They really shouldn't be having these issues. And until TfL can find a suitable solution where they can either purchase new parts or make new parts, there's nothing that can be done other than to keep the effective trains out of service and keep inspecting the trains that are starting to develop these faults and hope that they don't get any worse. Because these trains which are being monitored could easily get to the point where they need to be taken out of service, which would mean there's even less trains available, which means that the service is only going to get worse. Now, this is all in the name of safety. Obviously, TfL can't be running trains at a risk of literally falling apart. But one has to ask the question of why this is happening. Then there's been a few theories recently. One theory is, as I said before, they ordered a new batch of these trains in 2005. Well, these trains actually used to be 6 cars long, and they're now 7 cars long. And there's a rumour going around that it's only the new batch which are being affected. So each train has a new 7th car on it, which is built in 2005. And also there are about 4 trains which are completely built in 2005. And the rumour is that only those new cars are being affected, but because those cars are on all of the trains, that means all of the trains are affected. Again, only a rumour. Another reason behind it could be ATO, Automatic Train Operation, which is the signalling system that was introduced onto these trains in 2012. Well, with that, the trains started to accelerate a lot faster because they're being driven by computers, and the computers are a lot less forgiving than a human driver. It would slam the power on, it slams the power off, and because of that, that could be placing extra wear on these couplets that we don't know about, and that could have been what's led to these starting to break. Again, this is all just hearsay, but it's really concerning, and I hope that TfL do find a decent fix in the near future, because otherwise the Jubilee Line peak services are going to be fairly abysmal for a little while. Now obviously TfL are doing all that they can in this situation. Their hand is obviously being forced here by safety. They can't run the risk of having trains which may not be safe out in service. And once again, the reason that the weekends and the midday and late night services are unaffected right now is because they have enough trains to run these services. These services are only every few minutes, not every 2 minutes. But in the peaks, they just don't have enough safe trains out on the railway to fully run that service. And obviously, we're all starting to feel the effects of that. My advice would be, don't take it out on TfL staff, don't take it out on station staff, don't take it out on drivers. They're all just doing their job. At the end of the day, this issue, we should be glad that it was uncovered before anything happened. God forbid a train falling apart in service, and we really have TfL at least to thank for being able to own up to the fact that there is an issue with their trains and take responsibility for it in doing the right thing, which was taking them out of service and looking into how to fix them properly. Obviously it's not an ideal situation, but it's a situation that we have to go through in the guise of safety. It's annoying, but it's better than something bad happening out on an operational railway. Now obviously this shouldn't have happened at all, and I hope there will be an investigation into why and how this has happened and what has allowed this to happen. Obviously these trains are showing their age a little bit, but 1996 isn't exactly old for a train. Obviously the ones on the Jubilee Line and Jubilee Line were built in 1972 and 1973, and they are running fine. In the long run there will be an investigation, in the long run the trains will be fixed, and we as Londoners will forget about this in 5 years' time. We won't know it happened. We're already starting to forget the abysmal service we had on the Metropolitan line a few weeks ago as they introduced their new signalling system. So sit tight, be sympathetic to the staff, and I hope you learned why these trains are currently out of service. I've been taking Trains 1-1 on the Jubilee Line. See you soon. Bye.